What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Random Jam's Geek Yak'S Show. This is the show where we cover all the different kinds of topics, discussions, and reviews in the geek world. And today is a special day because we are covering a full-on spoiler review of Godzilla versus Kong.
Donkey Kong.
Not Donkey Kong. In this case, it is King Kong. We are both excited to talk about this. I'm Reese. Over here with me is Taylor. How are you feeling, Taylor? And are you ready to discuss Godzilla versus Kong?
I'm ready. I have been waiting for this movie for a long time. And believe me, I have held on to my butt for as long as I could.
That's a good thing to do. You definitely don't want to lose your butt. So today we're gonna start off giving off our initial thoughts and reactions to the movie. And then we will go into full in-depth spoilers, highlighting some of our favorite parts of the film. So if you've not seen Godzilla versus Kong yet, go watch it, then come back and we will talk about it and have you a part of our conversation. So today, Taylor is going to be our resident Godzilla and Kong expert as we walk through this movie together. And so don't disappoint the viewers that are watching. And you know more than I do, so you're gonna have to carry us through this.
I'm gonna have to pull up notes. No, okay, I'm good. I got you.
Yeah. So for the last time, I'll warn you, if you've not seen it, don't go any further. And here we go. So we're gonna jump into Kong versus Zilla. What were your initial thoughts and reactions going into the movie? What were some of your expectations maybe as you were, about to watch this movie?
So I didn't really know what to expect. Whenever I first saw the trailer, I had absolutely no idea. I mean, the one from back in the day was just, it was good for the time, but it was really cheesy. And you can't have that exact same cheesiness today and expect such a reaction from people like you would have back then, because that was like modern age perfect. Oh my gosh, that's Godzilla. Now it's a guy in an outfit. So I had no I don't know, unlimited expectation, because I loved the first Godzilla movie. Mm-hmm. I loved Skull Island. I loved King of the Monsters. It's just that scene from Thor when you see Hulk and just goes, big monster. That's the meme going around, and I'm with it 100% because I had no clue what they were going to do. I think seeing the opening, it looked like they made Godzilla a little bit smaller than he was in the first two movies. So I didn't know what to expect. I kind of figured maybe it was just a reaction from, that all that nuclear explosion that he had in the second one. Still could be. They just never explained it. So, but overall, very satisfied. Like we'll talk about it a little bit later. But I was very satisfied. I was smiling, grinning, and excited from the movie's beginning all the way to the end of it.
Awesome. So for me, I didn't get to see all of the movies that kind of led up into this. I did see the first Godzilla. We actually got to see that in a theater. And then I missed out on Kong and missed out on Godzilla 2. So for this, I was just kind of going into it with no expectations, only the fact of we're about to see Kong and Zilla take down each other. They're going to, just destroy everything in sight. And there's just, all this anticipation building up to this movie. Regardless if you've seen the others. And so for me, my experience was was only seeing the first Godzilla movie. So kind of already had a little idea about what this Godzilla was all about. I did see the King Kong movie from like 2005 from Peter Jackson. So like I knew kind of the story of that King Kong, not necessarily the same one here, but for me, that was definitely kind of a helper in going into this movie. But yeah, so for you, Taylor, what was it like seeing this movie being the accumulation of all the other films that led up to it. Did it satisfy? Did it pay off all of this lead up, or was it kind of disjointed in some ways?
So I think it meshed well. King Kong was very successful doing its own thing. Godzilla was very successful doing its own thing. Obviously, they're in the same universe. I mean, obviously things are happening. King Kong, Godzilla, God and King. Obviously, they're going to clash. They all tale as old as time. So, uh, I was excited that they finally had the opportunity to, with modern technology, generate those characters and produce such an action sequence in a movie format like they did. Uh, I had no disappointing moments in the terms of them putting them together, because everything about, they still remained their unique characters with their own traits and their own way of fighting and the way their own personalities. So I had no conflicts in terms of the meshing of the two types of movies, like, because they're different
Right.
movies. So I had absolutely no problem with the meshing. I think it played very well. They integrated all the characters well, from the returning characters from Godzilla and the new characters from King Kong. So it was separate, but it felt like one big moment. So I was satisfied with that.
Well, that's good to know. Just like I said, I'm not as familiar with the overarching story that they were trying to tell, but it seems like this paid it off in many different ways. And we'll be able to get into all the stuff in just a little bit. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of get your overall thoughts and reactions off the top here, um, just to kind of see where you were at with the movie, and then let you know where I was kind of at. Like I said, you have a little bit more knowledge on the background of Zilla and Kong from the past movies, and I just kind of went in cold turkey, just expecting a giant spectacle of Kong and Zilla, these
Mhm.
legendary monsters that we've seen and heard about for years, just going at it, and hopefully get to see it more in the future. So yeah, let's bounce over to the spoiler section of this video. So now we'll go into all of our favorite highlights or favorite moments from the movie. Taylor, how about you start us off? What were some of the things at the front end of the movie that really got your attention that you really, really enjoyed?
So immediately hopping right back into the Hollow Earth thing, that was pretty cool. Going back and seeing, because obviously that's what led this story. Oh, we need to get Kong here because he needs to. That's how we're going to save the world. He need to get Kong to the Hollow Earth. So I thought it was a really cool. I guess the difference of, if you watch King of the Monsters, you actually see them go into some of the Hollow Earth and the old ancient ruins where they worship Godzilla and all that kind of stuff. And then now you get a completely different upside down conjoining world that is just gravity bound on both sides. So I thought
Mm-hmm.
that was pretty cool. In terms of the beginning, like I said, I and it's been difficult. People can be like, well, Godzilla was like 360 something feet in this one, or Godzilla. It didn't. It looked like Godzilla was nerfed in size to me. It did, because last them fighting on that carrier, it just, I don't know. I've been trying to look up exact like measurements for them, but I haven't been able to find one that's consistently like 100%. This is how big they said they were. Not complaining, having like a perfectly matched Kong and Godzilla fight each other. Very satisfied. They could have been bigger though. I'm just saying they could have been
So,
bigger.
so my
Uh,
theory, or at least what I read on this, is that apparently, since Skull Island is set in like the 70s, they kind
mhm,
of play it off as he was a lot smaller back then because he was a little
mhm.
bit more adolescent, and so
Yeah, yeah.
in this movie he has almost just about grown full size, in that, like,
Mhm.
even at the beginning when he's in that what we thought was Skull Island, and it's actually his containment kind of shelter that they have there, that he's getting too big for it, and they're trying to like kind of figure out what's going on. I mean, he's like poking holes in it with trees, and and so that, I think that was maybe their explanation, or at least that makes sense to me, that he's
Yeah.
bigger in this one than he was in the other movie because he's older, bigger, and things like that. And as far as Godzilla, they kind of
Mhm.
like made up for scale in that way. So that might, if that makes sense to you.
They Benjamin buttoned Godzilla. That's what happened. He reversed in age. But no, yeah, that's something that that's something that they mentioned in the first Kong Skull Island is whenever they mentioned, oh, he's just a kid, like he's young, he's
But
dumb.
yeah, okay,
So
so
I
there you
get that.
go.
Yeah, they did. I knew that was coming. It's just I don't know. I don't know. They showed like the ancient skeletons of the King Kong species on Kong Island, on Skull Island, but uh going back to the original Godzilla versus King Kong back in the day, they were pretty evenly sized too.
Yeah.
So it just looked, it makes sense. Kong's got to grow because he's an adult. Godzilla, we're just gonna make him smaller just because we want him to be the same size. So I don't know. I have no complaints. I'm just big monster.
Okay, so since we're sizing each one of them up here, before we go any further, which one did you have as the winner? Were you Team Godzilla or were you Team Kong going into this
Oh,
movie?
100% hands down, Team Godzilla. 100%. No, I like King Kong. I got respect for you, King Kong, but no, giant radioactive lizard that I have been in love with since I was a kid. No, 100% Godzilla.
Well, I did notice that, like in his movie, they call him the God of Monsters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then with Kong, they still call him Kong. So maybe he's not technically King Kong yet, or he does become King Kong at the end when he's returned back to the Hollow Earth. That he kind of has that like I'm home moment, and he's like, yeah, like maybe that's when he's finally taken that mantle as the king. But definitely there's like this king versus God kind of
Mm-hmm.
like level or hierarchy that they're kind of messing with, that we're not really sure who really comes out on top. But that's funny to know that you were going into it full on just
Mm-hmm.
Team Godzilla. I didn't really have a side. I mean, I did kind of like King Kong, but I did see more of Godzilla's movie. So I really went in with no bias just to see them fight and see and kind of see throughout the movie, okay, who's really the stronger one here. That was kind of the
Mm-hmm.
game that I was playing the entire time.
No, I got you, and it makes sense. It's one of those movies where I went in went in Team Godzilla, but I also went in Team. There's a bigger bad guy. They're going to team up, and let's just be friends together. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I wanted. Luckily, I got what I wanted. So, but we'll get to that point
Yeah.
later. But it's hard to choose. They're both such successful like monster movies. They're both really good characters. They're both written very well. So I didn't want either of them to lose back in the day. Because if you didn't know, back in the day, in America, Godzilla won. No, I'm sorry. In America, King Kong won back in the day in the original Godzilla vs. King Kong. In
Okay.
Japan, since he was their mascot, they edited it to where Godzilla won. So it's just like it could be either one.
Yeah.
It really could.
Oh, smart storytelling always ends in a draw. Like that's even a Stan Lee quote. Like
Mm-hmm.
he always constantly get asked, who would win in this fight versus this fight, and he's like, well, the smart thing to do is always end it in a draw. So there's never a winner, and then all the fans can just argue back and forth on who's better, and you
And the
just make more
internet
money.
did that. The internet, the days before it came out, man, they were already doing hashtag Team Kong, hashtag Team Zilla. I mean, everybody was just throwing out their opinions on this. So,
And they do say in by the end of this that there is a winner. So my interpretation from this that it was in fact Godzilla that took him down. I mean, especially in that first fight. So let's go ahead and just dive in to the first battle. So we're out on the ocean. They're trying to take Kong to the Hollow Earth location across the water, which I was thinking the entire time, how did they find a boat sturdy enough to carry him? And if so, how massive and how like hefty is that ship?
right.
Because that kind of blew my mind. Like I always kind of think of the random stuff like that, but I just thought that was kind of funny seeing him just kind of sitting there floating on the ship as they're taking him down the
Mm-hmm.
across the ocean. And
Yep.
but yeah, so that's kind of the setting we're in. And then here comes Godzilla, Jaws style.
I was just about to say Jaws theme and all. That's what. Dang it.
So what was your reaction and thoughts to that?
Well, originally I kind of figured that it was Mecha Godzilla. Why is Godzilla acting so? I know they explain why later, but why is he acting like such an a-hole? 100%. I was like, all right, this has got to be Mecha Godzilla. Godzilla doesn't act like this. There's got to be
Right.
a
And he
reason,
yeah, he
or it's
tore
not
up
him.
that entire facility.
Oh, yeah.
Believe it was Apex in that location was just he obliterated. But they kind of gave us a reason why. They're like, well,
Mhm.
there's something going on there that he is not
Yeah,
happy with.
right. And everyone's like, he's just acting that way. Whatever.
They
But yeah,
gave him a reason to. So he just kind of
huge,
stomped it down.
huge ship. I like the character. I like that they brought in the deaf little deaf girl, because obviously big thing is, for one thing, apes, gorillas, just all that species are very intelligent. And you
Mhm.
see all of these gorillas in these exhibits and all that kind of stuff doing sign language to the other
Yeah.
people. And the moment that I saw that, I was like, King Kong's smart. He's smart.
Yeah. And you
And
mentioned that
made a
little
mistake.
girl. She was literally like although like there were some interesting human characters, they obviously took the back seat in this movie on
Mhm.
purpose. They
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that this was not about the humans, that this was all about Zilla and Kong. So what was nice though is that we had this really nice relationship between this girl and Kong, and kind of that became the heart of the film. You know, you
Right.
were rooting for that relationship, to kind of grow and flourish, for where she can kind of tame him, and then he starts to understand her. So that was really fun to see kind of develop across the
Yeah.
movie. And like I said, ultimately the best human story that was going on here, because other than that, there wasn't a whole lot going on, and
Mhm.
you could say it was pretty much a nothing story. It was just kind of like a series of events that would take these characters to get to here to here to here, just so it would all kind of work out. At least that was my interpretation. Like I remember the lead character's name. Like, she was Madison, played by Millie Bobby Brown. She was the most recognizable. Then you had the older black guy named Bernie, who was kind of the part of that little group there. And then you had the other guy, I think his name was Josh. That was her friend. Um,
Oh, shout back. Oh, that little kid for all pull too
oh
was
yeah,
was
from
great.
Deadpool. Yeah, I
Megan
thought I
looked
recognized him somewhere.
Megan looked at me. She goes, "Is that his real accent?" And I was like, "That's the way he talked in Deadpool." Yes. It's funny. It was great.
But yeah,
All
like
the
I
characters.
remember those characters. They,
Mhm.
they were interesting enough to like care about. And then we had like the mustache twirling villain that was running
You
the
had
giant
you
corporation.
had yeah, well, yeah, the we had the Asian guy, Rin Sarazawa, if you didn't
Oh
know,
yeah,
was the
he was
son
also
of,
another
Dr.
villain.
Sarazawa from the first one. So, yeah, he was great. They didn't really give him a lead part, which is okay. I mean,
Hmm.
don't crap on your dad's memory too much there, bud. But yeah, well, and like you said, I mean, the first Godzilla movie was human story, Godzilla
Hmm.
background. It's like
Yeah.
it says Godzilla in the name. Give me Godzilla. That's what I want. But
Hmm.
at the same time, you got maybe they were thinking, hey, we're gonna ease into these new monsters.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll give you a reason. But I wanted Bryan Cranston to be in the whole movie, and he wasn't in that either. We had Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch, but
Oh my gosh, I completely forgot that they were both in that movie.
yeah,
That's funny.
together.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then Bryan Cranston, he was like in the first 5 minutes.
yeah.
But
At least Millie Bobby Brown lasted two movies with her dad.
yeah, exactly. Let's
Oh
see.
well.
And then you had the doctor, Dr. Nathan. He was kind of like, at first, I was like, get this guy out of here. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's
Yeah.
just in it for the money and the corporate
Right.
world. And then
Mhm.
he starts to kind of turn a different leaf throughout the movie. And then I think the woman that was taking care of the deaf girl, um, her name was, I think, Eileen, maybe something like that. I That's what I have written down here. But I mean, she was a great character too. She was kind of like the moral compass to
Mhm.
Dr. Nathan, kind of letting him know, like, basically like a translator of what the girl was saying, and then kind of translating that to him. But then also kind of translating what Kong was saying to him. It's like, so she was kind of like this messenger back and forth as this moral compass throughout the movie, which was nice to see her perspective compared to his, because they were like just so opposite at the beginning, but then they started to fold into each other towards the end. But yeah, anything else that stuck out with you with like the different characters? Did you have any favorites?
I only about two characters in that whole movie. Okay. I know that we needed some backstory from the humans, but I only cared about Godzilla and King Kong and them fighting.
Yeah,
It
that's
could
the
have been
leads.
literally an hour and a half of just them fighting with no human contact and no written text, and I would have loved it just as much. I mean,
It's true.
come on.
That's
I
true.
would have, yeah. Yep.
Okay, so
So
let's
no.
let's get back to that first battle,
Mhm.
because this was pretty big. They're sitting on these boats, and then we mentioned he comes up Jaws style, and then they just start ripping into each other. What was your, what were you thinking in that moment? Like how, like the
Let
setting?
the man out of his
Oh yeah, they had to get him out of the.
let the man out of his chains. Come on, people. He's got to save us. Tom, unlock the damn chains. He can't swim.
Yeah, but I just
Come
thought it was
on.
interesting that their first battle though was on the water like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of surprised me. I was not expecting a
Yeah,
Godzilla to swim up like that.
just completely out of Kong's environment. He is. It's like the scene from Pokemon where you got a Groudon and Kyogre, and it's just like, you want to go? You're surrounded by water. Yeah, I'm water. You're surrounded by water, and it's just throwing hands. It's just,
Yeah,
okay. Even up the battlefield, give him a bigger place to stand. And believe me, when they stood, he
yeah.
had plenty of room to throw punches, and that's
It-
dang well what Kong did.
and that ship held both of them up. We
Yeah.
still don't know how. And that's got to be like the most hefty ship on the planet. That's what I was
I
thinking
don't
about
know.
the
Nick Fury
whole
must have
entire
lent him
time.
the helicarrier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
God.
But yeah, Godzilla was just crashing into boats left and right, just destroying all of them. That was pretty funny. It's
Yeah.
just like, yeah, just not even going around it, or like, and they weren't even like shooting at me, just like
No, because he's tired of it. The first and second movie, he has given them the opportunity. All right, I'm gonna go underneath y'all, but next time y'all better move. They didn't move, and he said, "Okay, I warned you," and just tore them apart. I would have done the same thing. Get out of my way. You see my fins? I'm huge. I will rip y'all apart. He's pissed. Let it
Yep.
go.
I mean, in Kong, he got some licks in there a couple of times, but then Godzilla drags him underwater and just kind of,
Humans had to cheat. Yeah, I
yeah, that
said.
too.
No,
But,
first round. Went to Godzilla. First round.
oh,
Godzilla.
definitely. Yeah, he left Kong kind of sitting there just like, what just happened?
Yeah, Kong was sitting back on the bed.
And like he's sedated like partly the whole entire time, so he doesn't even really know what just happened.
It's like when your mom comes in when you're trying to sleep when you were a little kid, and you just have to be like hiding under the cover, but peek whenever to see if she's gone or not. Yeah, it's exactly what Kong did. I don't know what that was about, but
Yeah, that was crazy. So from there, they kind of they get to the Hollow Earth, and we kind of mentioned what that was like. That was visually was just so cool to see. Like
yes.
I never really seen anything like that before. It reminded me of like something from like Interstellar or something.
Right.
But the idea that they could go, up or down and kind of have this inverted gravity, like you were saying, was really interesting. And we got to see some of the creatures.
Yes, that was cool. That was cool. I will say this though. This is the moment I gotta be that guy. I'm sorry. I don't like how it went from natural to the next movie, natural to the next movie. Freaking Elon Musk has grabbed all the vehicles and was like, "All right, Tron boys, let's go to the center of the earth," and just
Yeah, like that was nothing for them.
I don't know how I felt about that. If you could have made it look more natural and not like 200, 3,000 years in the future, I would have been a little bit more opening to that. I liked it. I'm not complaining. Don't at me, but a little too meta for me. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I want Lord of the Rings, not Star Wars. I don't need them both at the same time. But it was cool.
That's a good way to put it.
I'll give it that. I'll give it that. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, they just had these indestructible vehicles that just so happened to be able to go, across the world in five
Right.
minutes. That was
Right.
the other funny thing, when they go from like Florida to Hong Kong, just like like nothing, like they just get out and they're
Right.
like, oh, now we're in Hong Kong. Like just silly stuff like that was just funny to see because it's like, oh, okay, yeah, this movie is obviously not about realistic things here.
And it would have made sense to me because back in the day when the old school Godzilla faced off the old school Mecha Godzilla, the guys who created Mecha Godzilla were futuristic ape people from space. If you didn't know that, they were.
Now you
So
know.
they have an excuse. They're technologically advanced. Mr.
Right.
Mr. Sarazawa's son is not. Okay. He's here. He lived in like 2020.
Yeah.
Okay. I kind of was hoping that when I saw all that technology, I looked at Megan and I said, okay, maybe they're technologically advanced aliens like the ones that created Mecha Kong. They weren't. They hired space to create freak vehicles for them so they could go to the center of the earth. That's why Elon invested so much in Bitcoin. Yeah,
Exactly.
that.
But so while we were at the Hollow Earth, we got to see that old kind of ruin where Kong basically it's like a kind of like a artifact now of a place. And he was just kind of like, "This is my home," It just showed him.
Monkey skeletons, monkey statue. All
Yeah.
right. Gorilla
and then
statue.
and then all of a sudden we get Stormbreaker Kong. He pulls out that axe. That's immediately what came to my head. Hashtag Stormbreaker Kong. Pulls it out of the ground and he's like, "All right, let's go do this."
Freaking power. Let's go, boy.
That was just random. I was like, okay, now he has an axe. Like I get it, that's part of the mythology of the character, but I was not expecting that, and I was like, okay, he's Thor now.
I am super happy that they did a close up of that thing because I was like, where did he get the space axe from? And
Yeah,
then see that it's either one of Godzilla's or a previous Zilla's like back piece, and you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I get it. Radiation. Yeah. Okay, I got it now. I thought it's the same thing you did. Freaking Odin came down and said, "Here you go, Kong. Take him out." No, so I got you.
And so from there, they kind of like, I think that's when they start into the next battle over in Hong Kong. So
after Godzilla was just like,
yeah, he's like, he picked up that axe. I'm gonna go see
my laser.
Yeah.
It takes them point that long to get all the way to the center of the earth, and Godzilla's like, I bet I can get there faster, and just shoots that giant thing down. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, it's just
Goku, calm down.
Well, the funny part about that is just like, okay, so he's in the middle of the earth right now, millions and millions of miles away. And then, Zilla is tearing up Hong Kong. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, I sense the power. Hold on a second. And then shoots all the way down. He's like looking at the holes like, hey, I see you in there. I'm gonna get you.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh.
And then they're like, oh, well, we'll just take that hole right back up to Hong Kong.
It's a good thing there's a gravitational lift in that hole that shot him right all the way up.
How convenient.
It was in Hong Kong. It was on the bottom. They just jumped down. So it caught my interest. It doesn't make sense to me. Physics is just like
out the window.
Said. It does. That thing doesn't abide by the laws of physics at all. No, but I thought it was great. Good thing Zilla didn't hit anything volatile going down that didn't destroy the freaking planet. Okay.
Exactly. So by this time, all the human characters are in Hong Kong. All coincidentally, so like one of them took a giant shuttle train over just across the world, and then the other one came out of the middle of the world and shot out of a hole. So yeah, now we're all in the same place and try to escape Godzilla's terror.
To where it all began, over in Japan and Hong Kong, where they had to bring Godzilla back to destroy some part of the Asian population now because he's been destroying America. It's time we get back to our roots and move further east.
Right.
Yeah.
And as soon as he's, stepping all over things and crashing all the buildings, they're like, not again.
Right. I just cleaned up this mess. Can we keep it clean for 5 minutes?
Exactly. That's what it felt like, I'm sure.
Right.
And they're just like, oh my gosh. So yeah, and then Kong's like, all right, well, I got this axe now, and so now we're gonna fight on land where you can't drown me.
Right.
And that was some of the coolest choreography and just action that I've ever seen, like monsters or even like big robots do. Because they're literally just destroying anything in sight. Like, people thought that Superman and Zod destroyed Metropolis. That's nothing compared to what this was.
No. First off, got to give it to him. Okay, I've been waiting because you're like, okay, obviously they're giant creatures. Why am I punching in slow motion? No, this one they were just like, bip, like just fast, fast,
throwing them around.
Yes, this is what I want. Yeah, kill him. No. Yeah. Freaking axe throwing, just took out a chunk of freaking Zilla's leg, and you're just like, this is happening, my guy.
And then what was really wild was once they kind of concluded that fight, and Kong just laying on the ground, I was like, is he about to die? I was like, did we just lose Kong? Because like we obviously find out that he doesn't die, which was smart. You don't kill off one of your big monsters. Right. But like for a second there, I was just like, wow, Godzilla just like put him to shame. Even though it was a back and forth fight, that he just, laid into him to the point where, there wasn't much coming back from that. And, he kind of starts walking off a little bit like, we're done here.
And that was the time. He even looked down on him. It was just like, he turned around and walked off. So, it's like, what? Acknowledge me. I'll say this. There was a moment in that fight where obviously came out on top. So at that point, you got Godzilla, Kong, and then Godzilla beating the tiebreaker in that moment right there when he knocks out Kong, dislocates his shoulder, and
kills him. And then he popped it back in place.
Hope you don't need this building.
Let me use this building to pop my shoulder back into place.
It was wild, man. So we got 2-1 Godzilla in that fight, and then they didn't fight for the rest of the movie. So at that point, before all the major action happens, we'll get to, Zilla took it. Took it. Team Zilla.
And I think they were kind of going that direction. What was kind of interesting for me, someone who kind of went in non-biased, I felt like the movie was trying to get you to root for Kong because of the relationship it had with the people, just the way it, like, he's a crazy, dangerous monster, but like he has a calm point. You can kind of calm him down and communicate with him in a way where it's like he's kind of on our side in that way. You can't really do that with Godzilla. It's like his way or the highway. And so just the way that Godzilla was presented in this movie, it came across as like he was the bad guy. He was the one, kind of winning. And then Kong was becoming the underdog. And so when you watch something like that, you tend to root for the underdog. So that's what I kind of started to do. But then I'm like, well, dadgummit, you keep losing. So it's like, how can I root for you when you keep getting your butt whooped every time, either in the water or on land? So it's like, and then you had your, special axe, Stormbreaker, that didn't help you any. So that at that point, that's when I dropped him. I was like, yeah, you're on your own, dude.
That's what his life said too. And he said, I'm out.
Yeah.
But don't worry. The Tron bike was there to save the day.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing that they had time to tell that scientist who has never ever experienced or used that piece of equipment in his entire life that he automatically knew, hey, I can use this thing as a defibrillator too.
Oh yeah. That whole like plot point was very interesting.
Come
It's like,
on, man. I appreciate it, but couldn't they just gotten out some giant size uh sticky pads to put on there? Shocking. No, Gabrick, there's cars over there. Get a car battery or something. I don't know. I mean, I'm asking for too much here.
that was an interesting way to bring him back. And at that
It
point,
worked.
yeah, it worked. It did the job, and so now they're both back, and by this time they've kind of kissed and made up because
By this time, Godzilla his ass kicked, and everybody is watching.
yeah,
Everybody's like, he beat, get it, get him. And you got his motion was fluid and fast.
yeah,
Godzilla didn't even fight. He got stomped.
yeah,
It 100% got stomped. And King Kong's just like, keep doing it. Keep beating his ass. You see what he did to me? Watch this. Bip. Let me knock my shoulder back in. I'm going home. No.
yeah.
What?
It's and so from there, and let's just get to it then. Enter Mecha Godzilla. So he was teased multiple times throughout the movie. We kind of realized that okay, the humans have planned something, or this corporation has planned something. This evil Walter guy, who gets a few words in before he's destroyed by his own creation. I honestly wish that he would have kept talking,
Yeah.
and then that Mecha Godzilla just came in like mid sentence and just scratched him out. Like I mean, he did realize right before he was like, "Oh crap," and then
try to move backwards, like slowly, just like, if you're slowly backing away from me, obviously there's something behind me. But no, Syndrome just keeps monologuing while Godzilla's revving up his attack back there.
what was funny, like as he was talking, you're watching their faces, and it's like, why would you keep talking if you're seeing them like getting out of the way?
Right?
And then he waits until the last second, realizes, and he's gone.
Yep.
So
they don't make mechanized monsters like they used to.
Nope.
Man.
But he was obviously the throwaway villain here. But yeah, I just thought in that moment that would have been funny if he would have just like still been talking, and then just got ripped out of the building like that.
Yeah, just dude, it was really cool seeing Mechagodzilla just straight up destroy that skull monster, that skull crush, whatever the heck they're called, the ones from Skull Island that Kong struggled with in the first movie, and his Skull Island. Him struggle with that in Kong Skull Island movie, and then seeing Mechagodzilla just destroy it in like 5 seconds. It just showed how strong he was going to be of a villain.
Right. What did you think about Mechagodzilla's chances against regular Godzilla?
Mechagodzilla has always kicked the crap out of Godzilla.
Okay, all so you already knew going in that he was just gonna, start wrecking shop.
Godzilla has always had a history of needing backup when fighting Mechagodzilla. Like, and it's pretty cool. King Caesar is one of my favorite big kaiju monsters. Okay, he's like a half lying, half dog, half whatever he wants to be. But huge. Obviously, the humans called in Caesar to help Godzilla fight Mechagodzilla last time because, again, Godzilla was getting his butt kicked, just like this one. Mechagodzilla looked awesome. Everything about him was great. So, yeah. Hashtag Team Mechagodzilla. Bring him back.
Oh, okay. So you kind of shifted over to Mechagodzilla when he showed up. It's like, yeah, kill them both.
It was cool. Come on, you got a big metal you saw it the very first hit. Godzilla charged at Mechagodzilla and bit him with his shoulder. And I was like, oh, Zilla hit that thing and went, what is that made of? And just this giant hunk of metal. And then he didn't even flinch, grabbed him, threw him down, and just beat the snot out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was wild. And it wasn't until they finally, learned to work together that and then the conveniency of the kid, we go back to the human story here, and they figure out a way to make Mechagodzilla malfunction by spilling whiskey all over the computer. So that kind of knocked him out a little bit. He's a little disoriented to where they could start beating up on him. So that was a nice little convenient a little thing that happened there.
That's what we call a mulligan. Okay.
Right. But it made for a really cool fight scene. They both hold him down, ripping the arms off and just
Yep.
beating the face in. It was really cool. And yeah, I thought that was a weird, really kind of an interesting little conveniency there, but it made, because like how else were they going to beat it? Like trying to think of how the writers would have come up with, how to beat Mechagodzilla. It's like, what if they just like mess with the computer? So it's like, okay, I guess.
The last one I saw, Godzilla like just turned his head all the way around, but King Kong had to go in there and just freaking use chop on him and
Judy chop.
Judy chop cut him to pieces, man.
Yeah. Oh, and one thing that I remember that was so cool, Mechagodzilla, he this is right before all this happens. He's got Godzilla pinned on the ground and almost does the exact same type of move that Godzilla would have done to, Kong or any other monster, where he rips open their mouth and just like, blah, straight in. Like he does that to in the first Godzilla movie.
The Motu,
I remember that specifically.
Yeah. The Muto. Yeah. Yeah, we didn't want to see it happen, but he said, "You this." So yeah.
Yeah. So he totally almost got his own medicine there. That was a moment I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is wild."
Yeah. Can you imagine he's getting that beam and it's like, "Oh God, is that what I've been doing to people?
Is that what it tastes like?"
Yeah. But seeing that scene where his atomic meets Mechagodzilla's beam was really, man.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was like a whole Dragon Ball Z moment right there.
Yeah.
Two blasts just kind of like meeting together and then just like,
yep.
That was pretty wild too.
Yeah. Imagine the people like in Hong Kong just looking at Godzilla, goes, finally beats Kong. Thank God he's going home. And you see just metal dinosaur come out of a mountain. You're just like, I'm going inside. If I die, I die. What else is going to happen today? He came from the sea. He came out of the earth, and he just came out of the mountain. What do we do now?
Well, they finally beat Mechagodzilla, and then they kind of like look at each other like, now what? But then they decide to go their separate ways, and Godzilla kind of knows that he beat Kong, and he's like, you've had enough for today. I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna go back home, and we're cool for right now.
For now,
yeah.
Thank you for not letting me die. For now, sorry, I almost killed you.
But yeah, so they become friends, I guess, at the end.
In a way, you could consider it a draw. You can.
Right.
Godzilla beat
exactly.
Kong he beat him twice. Kong beat Zilla once. Kong saved Zilla's life. We're tied.
Yeah, they're even.
They're even.
Yeah, and I did kind of like how they left it open like that, Part of me thought there was going to be a definitive winner and then this would be it, but they would be crazy to do that in the first movie. Like if they want to continue this story, they got to have a second movie. They got to bring in, something like some kind of storyline that brings them back together somehow. Maybe Godzilla meets back in the Hollow Earth and we start to see like monster madness going on down there. We start to see a lot of new monsters we haven't seen yet. That would be a cool way to open up a sequel. What do you think?
What we were going to get in that sequence when Kong was running through the hollowed earth is like he was going to do his thing and he was going to turn and look, and off in the distance Godzilla was there doing his own thing. I thought it ended a little too fast for Godzilla. He's like, all right, cool. And then he just stares at Kong and then turns around and leaves, and then it's just soft music and he goes into the ocean.
Bye.
Like, okay. I slow down if I know that, so I wish they would. If director, I thought it would have been really cool to have Kong frolicking through the Hollow Earth, look at Godzilla in the distance, and then like a freaking explodes and Destroya pops up and then it just cuts the credit. I thought that would have been cool. But
That's pretty cool. That would have been
more monsters.
Yeah. Well, I think that should be the title of the second one is Kong versus Zilla 2, More Monsters, and just kind of see what happens when they're both threatened by, different monsters. Do they team up again, or is it like a free for all? That would be kind of cool to see.
Yep, I agree. I'm looking really at what they do next.
Definitely. And I read a thing where the director said he purposely didn't put any kind of like cliffhanger or post-credit scene because he wanted it to be its own thing and not distract them from, what it could be next or what could come after this. Like it's self-contained in its own movie. You can go into this without knowing anything, kind of like how I did. Like I knew a little bit, but like I knew enough to enjoy it. I wasn't confused at any point. They seem to explain everything really well at the beginning to kind of catch people up. But yeah, overall, I thought it was great. At the end, all the human characters kind of get their moments of closure. The girl Madison reunites with her dad, who we only see him like twice, and he's texting her. And so they get reunited.
He's busy.
And they get reunited in Kong.
He's busy.
Yeah.
Oh God. I go all the way across the country and oh look, my daughter is stowed away over here.
Yeah.
How'd you get over here?
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe.
But yeah, that was, it was nice to see everything kind of fall into place, but nothing was really, the kicker more than, Zilla and Kong. So overall, great movie. I enjoyed it. It was a really fun time. Really wish that I could have seen it on the big screen. I'm glad that we had the opportunity to watch it at home. Yeah, that's really my take on the movie. What about you, Taylor? As we wrap up,
I was satisfied. I'm very satisfied. Good job. I was excited and not let down throughout the entire movie. Little things don't bother me, but overall, very happy with it. We'll buy it when it comes out. We'll watch it 30,000 more times, just like I've watched the other ones. So,
well, there you go.
Not sorry.
There you go. All right. Well, that is our review and discussion on Godzilla versus Kong. We hope you enjoyed this video. We want to thank you for those who joined us in this conversation. First of all, thank you for being here. Thanks for tuning in, whether you're watching live or on the replay. Make sure you check out Random Jam, follow it on YouTube and Facebook, subscribe, do all the things that YouTube people do. Make sure you check out some of our other videos we've done. We just recently did an episode. We broke down Zack Snyder's Justice League. So we went into all the spoilers on that, had a really fun discussion. Check that one out. We also did a series on WandaVision. So yeah, and also keep in touch. Check out our videos. We drop them Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Let us know in the comments. What was your thoughts, reactions, everything, opinions on Kong versus Zilla? Let us know below. Let's keep this conversation going beyond the video. If you don't have anything else to add, Taylor, we're going to wrap it up. That's enough Geek Yak for today. I was Reese. This was Taylor. We'll see you next time. Stay geeky, y'all.